BTS News Today. When the world thinks that the closeness between Jimin and Jungkook is something unshakable, a shock shook the hearts of the army. Shocking news comes from behind the curtain of the lives of BTS members who are now undergoing military service. In a tense and emotional atmosphere, the news came that Jimin was very angry, even rumored to close themselves from communication after learning of Jungkook's unexpected decision, not because of a personal dispute or an ordinary misunderstanding, but for one surprising reason. Jungkook left Jimin to focus on the army. This news first came from the fans. Young observed Jimin's attitude change over the past few weeks. Usually actively share warm messages and sweet words for the army, on Weverse and by mail sent online, Jimin suddenly became more silent, not even appearing in collective messages BTS members usually write to greet fans. This change certainly did not escape the attention of ARMY, who was always sensitive to the emotional condition of his idol. They begin to wonder what really happened. This issue is further strengthened when an inside source close to the BTS environment, revealing that Jimin felt very hurt after Jungkook decided not to answer Jimin's private letters, choose to reply more to messages from the army. Even on an occasion that should have been a private moment between the two while on military leave, Jungkook reportedly spent the time visiting the Army Community Center and recorded a special message for the fans. This decision is surprising, not because Jungkook shows affection for ARMY, something he always did, but because he did it at the expense of his personal time with Jimin. For Jimin, who has been known to be very expressive and emotional towards those closest to him, Jungkook's decision felt like a small betrayal. Although they are both part of BTS and have been together for over a decade, their relationship cannot be separated from complex emotional dynamics. On various occasions, both in front of the camera and in personal interactions, their closeness looks so deep. Jimin has always been where Jungkook leans when tired, and vice versa. Jungkook became Jimin's encouragement in times of stress. However, their love for the army was equally strong. Jungkook, who has been known as the Golden Magne, feeling that his military years were not a reason to stay away from fans. They want to show dedication, even if it means getting rid of his personal time. In an open letter that was finally uploaded by the BTS team officially, Jungkook writes that the army is the reason he became what he is now, and he could never leave them even for a moment. He feels a responsibility to keep strengthening the fans, who waited faithfully until all the members returned. The sentence in the letter, "I choose not to let the distance make us feel distant. If I had to sacrifice my time to make sure you feel loved, then I'll do it," became a sentence that provoked an emotional reaction from different sides, including Jimin himself. For some ARMY, Jungkook's decision was very touching. They feel that Jungkook's presence as a figure who still prioritizes them in the midst of difficult times is proof of his unchanging love. However, for Jimin, the decision marked something deeper, an imbalance in their personal relationships. A source revealed that Jimin felt neglected in this process. He wasn't angry because Jungkook loved ARMY. Jimin loved ARMY with all his heart. But he feels that there are times when the relationship between members also requires real attention and presence. After a hard time getting into the military, including mental and physical stress is not small, Jimin feels that he needs emotional support from those closest to him, including Jungkook. The source added that earlier Jimin and Jungkook had planned to meet in person in a very rare spare moment. Jimin even prepared a small surprise, a book containing their notes and memories of their years in BTS. But all those plans were dashed when Jungkook announced that he would use that time to be present virtually at ARMY meetings, hosted by a global fan base. Although the reason was noble, the decision made Jimin feel excluded. This tension peaked when Jimin, who is usually known for his calm and understanding attitude, finally exploded. According to the story of one of the staff who knew them from the beginning, Jimin looked very emotional and even cried, while conveying his disappointment to Jungkook through a written message. He wrote that he was not demanding priority, but feel disappointed because of the moment they planned together, simply ignored in favor of something that can be rescheduled. Shortly after, Jimin stopped all communication with Jungkook. The messages they used to send each other stopped. Other members who were aware of the situation did not intervene immediately, because understand that both need time to reflect and calm down. RM even wrote in his personal account that sometimes, the ones we love the most are the ones we hurt the most, without us knowing. A sentence that made many ARMY speculate that he was referring to the situation between Jimin and Jungkook. Meanwhile, the fans began to split in two. There are those who fully support Jungkook's decision, consider that his sacrifice was a tremendous form of love for the army. They understand that in the midst of difficult times, Jungkook wants to make sure that the love from BTS stays warm. However, there are also those who feel that Jimin is not wrong, because they want a more intimate relationship and attention from their closest friends. The virtual world becomes boisterous with various hashtags. From hashtag protect Jimin to hashtag we support Jungkook. Many ARMY are trying to mediate this situation with positive messages, reminds that friendship that has survived for more than a decade, it will not be broken just because of one emotional decision. Time is running out, and the fans can only wait and hope that both will find a way to understand each other again. In one of his letters, Jimin finally wrote a cryptic message that touched many hearts. Sometimes we just want someone to sit next to us, silent but present. No need for words, just understanding. A sentence that was greeted with tears by thousands of ARMY, because they knew it was Jimin's inner voice for Jungkook. A few weeks later, Jungkook's birthday arrives. There was no special message from Jimin like in previous years. Just a post from the staff showing an old portrait of the two at practice, with the caption, "Some relationships don't need words, just time." ARMY reads that as a sign that Jimin is still processing his feelings, and it may take longer to forgive, but it's not over yet. Behind the scenes, the members of BTS continue to support each other. J-Hope, who is known to be wise and full of enthusiasm, wrote in Weverse, "Everyone can love millions, but only a few can keep one heart intact." A meaningful message believed to be a form of support for Jimin and Jungkook's relationship. Now, the big question still hangs in the air. Will Jimin forgive Jungkook? Can they both go back to the way they were, become two friends who strengthen each other behind the glitter of the world stage? For sure, the love of the ARMY will not change. They believe that time and honesty will heal everything. Because in the world of BTS, where every step is filled with love and sacrifice, every wound will find an antidote. This story is not over. This is just a chapter in their long journey. A story of two friends, two hearts, and millions of love watching from a distance. When they finally meet again, perhaps without a word, but with a look of mutual understanding, the world will know that sincere love is never really lost, just waiting for the right moment to shine again. A few days after Jungkook's silent birthday, BTS's fandom sky is still cloudy. ARMY, which has been accustomed to seeing the warmth and harmony between members, now you can only guess through symbols, photos, and implied messages. They keep wondering, is this a wound that will leave a mark? Or is this just one of the tests that will strengthen the bond between the two? Surprisingly, on a quiet morning, a video from the past suddenly went viral again. The video shows Jimin and Jungkook during the early days of BTS's debut, when they were young, innocent, and full of spirit. In the clip, Jimin is seen holding Jungkook's hand while saying, "If you're tired, I'm here." That sentence, which used to feel like a sweet joke, now it sounds very poignant and deep. Fans began flooding the comments section with digital cries and an expression of hope that they will get back together in a heart that strengthens each other. But the world keeps turning. Mandatory military service continues.
I'm coming out with a statement. You really changed, man. All your music and arrangements